have this second YouTube channel that I use pretty much exclusively to post videos, little short, dry demonstrations, matter-of-fact demonstrations of instruments that I'm selling. And typically I'm just trying to be true to life, true sound, like no studio trickery, no close miking. Is usually just either the camera mic or a room mic near the camera, just trying to, in essence, make a surrogate to the experience of coming over here and checking it out. So it's a channel I don't put a lot of thought into, just serves a purpose. To my shame and chagrin, those little dry videos that I don't put a whole lot of effort or thought into, certainly no passion into, often outperform the videos that are near and dear to my heart that I post here on this channel. So that's something I get to live with. In any event, I don't go on there very often unless I have something new that I'm selling. And I was posting a new video of a drum set I'm selling and saw that, surprisingly, there were some comments, rude ones at that. So before I delete them, which is what I do with rude comments, I thought I'd share a couple of them with you and respond a little bit just for your pleasure and amusement. So there are two comments. Here we go. The first comment has to do with a Ludwig accent drum set that I was selling a while back. And that so that's a beginner grade kind of drum set, good manufacturer, one of my favorite brands for sure. And importantly, it's important that you know that I left the factory heads on this kit. This was a used kit that still had factory heads that still had a lot of life on them, and I left those on. And that factory heads tend to be on the thinner side, kind of like a diplomat thickness on the toms, as opposed to like ambassador or emperor thickness. Certainly, I think that I do a pretty decent job of tuning up drums. I think that I'm pretty good at it. I certainly get a lot of practice doing it. To my ear, these sounded pretty good. But now I'm me, begs to differ, commenting, that snare drum sounds awful. The toms sing, but that snare is crap. First, I'm going to let you hear what they're referring to. So here's a little clip. Okay, so now that you've heard it, here's my two-part response to that, to my critical ear. First, the snare sounds typical. It's pretty good, decent. Not amazing. Don't expect it to be amazing, but certainly not in my garage in a true life recording scenario like I mentioned. But I know that from playing it, that's probably the best sounding drum on that kit. Like, that's a nice, crisp, decent snare sound. And I could have gone either way. I could have made it a little fatter. I could have made it a little tighter. I just put it right in the middle, and I was very satisfied with it. Takes a tuning easily. I don't know what they expect or what they think. I mean, I've heard some truly crappy snares. Oftentimes when I get drum sets, the snare is it's a difficult drum to tune because it's a little different than the others, and the tension is kind of unforgiving. But this is not one of the ones that's unsalvageable. This is and most of them are salvageable just with proper tuning. And this has proper tuning, and it sounds good to me. And I don't know, I've been playing a long time. Sounds good to me. What I would say with my critical ear is, if anything, those toms, because of the decision to leave the factory heads on, and because the factory heads are so thin, maybe overspeak a little bit. They're certainly tuned well, and they do sing out, and they do speak. They do speak well, but if I were setting that up for myself or for a student, I would throw slightly thicker heads on there, probably ambassadors, at the very least. For myself, I actually favor even slightly thicker. I go a little more towards the suede or emperor thickness in the Remo lines. So I don't know. Reasonable people will disagree, and also reasonable people will disagree with unreasonable people. So even rudely. So I don't think Now and Me really knows what they're talking about. It's okay to think the toms sound good. Thank you. The snare sounds fine. You're wrong about the snare. So, second comment. This one is on a beginner level acoustic electric guitar, an Esteban. It doesn't really matter because the comment's about me and about my playing, not about the guitar. However, let me play you just a little bit of what I did play so that you can then evaluate this comment. So here's a little clip of that. Okay, so Eddie Mautone comments, and I'm going to parenthetical this because there's some syntax or autocorrect issues here that, they get their point across, but a little bit awkwardly. So here it goes. I'll put it up on the screen and you can see for yourself. Have you known about picks? Really? What's wrong with you people? Sounds so stupid, plucking the strings with your fingers. Really? Okay, so here's the thing. I'm not a great guitar player, for sure. I'm a decent guitar player. I've played for a very long time. It's my secondary instrument, or actually it's my tertiary instrument. I'd say that drums, then piano, then guitar are kind of the instruments in order that I play. And singing is the thing I do even better than any of those. None of those, I'm no superstar in any of those things, but I'm certainly a proficient guitar player. And I have very poor fine dexterity. I don't like playing with a pick because I drop them very easily. And that's a pain in the butt, as everybody knows. So since I was 12, I've played with just an open-handed technique. And what I would say in response to the commenter is, you can certainly say that I'm not a great guitar player, although I don't know what you're taking issue with in that example. I'm not trying to show off. I'm just playing through some chords to show you the guitar works. And I think I do a decent job. I didn't phone it in. I stand behind my playing example on that. But what I really would say is, allow me to step aside and introduce you to Jeff Beck and Mark Knopfler and Lindsey Buckingham and Derek Trucks and Stanley Jordan and Chet Atkins, any number of other players who play exclusively or nearly exclusively without a pick. There's some great players out there, and the point I would make is that there's not just one way to play an instrument, and great musicians find a way to make their voice great. They polish their own tools and they find their own way, and that's something that is important when you're teaching instruments, or when you're playing and evaluating other players, is to remember that criticizing people's technique is sort of the lowest form of criticism, because unless it's really tied to like a failure of that player to achieve what they're trying to do because their technique is getting in the way, it's just kind of elitism. It's stupid. It's a dumb thing to criticize people for. So I'm sorry, but Eddie Mautone, I think you're missing the bigger point, and I really don't think you have a leg to stand on to criticize my playing just because I'm not using a pick. So sorry, but I'm going to delete your post, having now analyzed it and determined it to be valueless to me. So okay, that's those are my rude comments from my secondary YouTube account. I hope you guys enjoyed that, or I hope you all enjoyed that, and I will talk to you all later.